infected.
Holy shit! Ow.
As a huge fan of the Halo franchise, I want nothing more than to see Halo make a resurgence with the release of Halo Infinite. And with the speculation that Halo Infinite may be the most expensive game ever produced, we can only assume that Microsoft, 343, and the whole Xbox team are heavily invested in this project. One thing that many Halo fans agree on is that a functional custom games browser is essential to the success of the game. Social and ranked playlists are great, and Action Sack definitely wets your beak when it comes to the custom games community. But one thing that I feel hasn't been done quite right yet is the custom games browser. 343 Industries has recently added a custom games browser to the Master Chief Collection, and I would guess that this is partially a test to find out how this will be implemented into Halo Infinite as well. It certainly feels as though Halo 5 missed the mark when it comes to a custom games feature. They didn't actually release custom games in Halo 5 when the game first launched. They actually waited some time, right? I think it was about a year after the game was released before they added in custom games. But even then, like, you know, it was great. It was fun to play customs in Halo 5. Definitely a really nice forge. Even to this day, I think it's you know, the best forge yet, and there's a lot of customization options there. But you know, in terms of actually searching for custom games functionality, I don't believe that it really hit the mark necessarily. I think that they could have done a lot more with it. So yeah, I just wanted to do some analysis and you know, really kind of dig into what a great custom games feature would look like with Halo Infinite. And we're going to take a lot of, you know, our inspiration from StarCraft 2, as well as StarCraft 1 and Warcraft 3. I think that those custom games systems really might have been the best. You know, not without their issues as well. StarCraft 2, like when it initially released, I was actually quite frustrated with how they did their custom game system. I don't think we've actually seen very many games launch with a good one, and I wonder what that would look like. Like if Halo Infinite launches with a perfect, or you know, a good enough in-game custom games feature, you know, how would that look like for the community? How many people are going to end up staying around because of the replay value, right? All of these things are questions that I would really like to know the answer to. So, yeah, I'd really like to see Halo Infinite succeed with their custom games browser, and I think that this Master Chief Collection, you know, custom games browser test that they're doing right now is obviously for the Master Chief Collection, yes, where there's a lot of great custom games, but, you know, really all their eyes are going to be on Halo Infinite here later this year. So, I imagine that they'll add a custom games feature, and hopefully they, you know, are sort of testing the waters with this pilot, so that they can find out what really works for next time. Anyways, without further ado, I want to jump into what I think would be some great additions to the Master Chief Collection file browser, which, you know, of course, I'm also speaking to Halo Infinite, but specifically we'll just use this example that they have here, since it's something we can already touch, we can already get our hands on, and you know, it's no longer there. They've just taken it off, but it was released for a few days where we could test it out and see kind of how that works. So here are some of my suggestions of like what they should keep and what they should change, and we'll take some inspiration from other games that have done this well. All right, so I'm going to start off with the sort of the user interface and just the browser in general. You know, how it looks and what I think could be improved in terms of the things that affect how you search, find games, and you know, how they're created, and all that good stuff. So we'll sort of start there. I'm just going to start off right away by jumping into so when it comes to the creation, right now there's just like the open lobbies feature. This is similar to how StarCraft 1 was initially released with use map settings and other types. Similar to Warcraft 3, also had the same system where it was just a list of open lobbies that were created by the community, and you can join in to whichever one you want. You know, some of the problems with this, of course, are lobbies filling up very quickly. And you know, in modern Warcraft and StarCraft lobbies, it was also that people had to download the maps, and if they saw you were downloading, you get kicked. You might remember that. Obviously, we don't have this problem in Halo, but this common problem still exists where, like, you know, a lobby is hosted, you want to play a certain game, you're looking for Jenga, you want to play Jenga, you find a Jenga, but it's got 16 people in it, or, you know, maybe even 13, but you have a group of 4, and you wanted to join with all 4 of your homies, but then you can't because the lobby's full. So you keep searching until you find one that has, you know, a few enough players, And then hopefully when you click on that, there's still enough open spots for you and your friends to join. It's, it works for sure, but it's not ideal. I would make some changes. So we definitely want to have like a way to queue into the lobby, like a waiting list. I think would be a really good thing. That way, you don't have to search around until you find the right lobby, and sometimes, you just want to wait and get that full lobby. So yeah, maybe you want to have some sort of a queue. I don't know if that's like a one-person queue or a queue for friends as well. That might make things complicated, but some sort of way to be put on a waiting list. Another way to sort of avoid this problem is StarCraft 2 does this really, really well with their arcade feature, where basically there's a list of the most popular maps and game types on their system that you can go to, and then, so for example, Jenga on Jenga, if that was an option, or Halo on Halo, or some of these other extremely popular game types were, upvoted to the top of the list, or however system you want to have for progressing those up the popularity list, even if they're just played the most. I don't know if there's a best way to do that from a developer standpoint, but I'm sure there's a way to do that quite easily, or at least hopefully not too much time invested. So yeah, I think that you have something like that, and what happens is, you can click on Jenga. You see it here on the sort of list of maps that are available to you, and you click that, and then you can click join. And then if there is a lobby open that has spots available for you and your team, or just for you, then you're automatically placed into that game, so you can start it as quickly as possible. And if there's not, then you can actually create it. And this is something that is desperately needed, because the custom game finder, like actually browsing, you still have to browse and find the specific person's file share and download it from there, which has worked, and the community has really made this work well, because we've created tools where you can actually find specific players and people have their file shares there and they don't touch them, so that you can still download it. It's working fine, but it's obviously not ideal. It's difficult for players who are new to Halo to really get into that. They're more just going to be joining custom games. They're not going to be creating themselves. It's a little bit too much of a task for them. So having some sort of a way to just go like, oh, Jenga, I want to play it. There's no open lobbies, and it's automatically creating me a lobby where me and my friends can join. And then, of course, that also will make it so that other people will be able to join that much quicker. It'll go to 16 players like almost instantly, right? So you do also want to have a feature like that. The challenge is, and it's where StarCraft really failed when they released StarCraft 2, is you don't want to create a community of custom games browsers where only the popular maps get played, right? That's great for the short term, but the long-term growth of your community in custom games will not succeed if only the popular games are the ones that get played all the time. So I think it's also important to have, some sort of a rising category, whether this is like developer-led or if it's community-based, based on, just whatever has picked up the most traction the last little while. It'd be cool if there was some sort of a way to market your games within the custom games browser. That's asking a lot, I know, but just some sort of tools that allow you to, really push your creations into the mainstream, so at least it gets touched. I don't know what that looks like. I always dream of like a custom games economy. I think that'd be really cool if there was a way to actually get paid, just like a YouTube, where you create your creations, and because it's contributing to people buying Game Pass and investing in Halo Infinite, which is now an investment. It's going to be microtransactions and Game Pass and things that are recurring rather than just a one-time purchase. And you purchase the title and that's it. There's no more ways to make money. The games aren't like that anymore, right? People coming back to custom games will further the finances of your game. You will make more money, and Xbox will make more money if people are coming back to custom games. So it'd be cool, really cool, if there was some sort of a custom games economy, basically where creators can get a pay scale based on how many people play their game. I don't know, again, what that looks like, and I know that's extremely difficult to implement, all sorts of legal things and all that sort of stuff, but that's my pipe dream, is that something like that would become available in a game like Halo, where it is mega popular, and I think people would really enjoy that, creators and players alike. Beyond that, it's also great, this is something Halo's done in the past, but yeah, like hosting Forge contests, where that's one way to really just easily keep the game fresh, make sure there's always new content coming in. You could have like a monthly Forge contest. It doesn't even need to be like a cash prize, right? You don't need to spend any money on this other than just development time and moderation. But you just have some sort of contest of, make this type of map, I don't know, or something like that, whatever. There's some sort of rules set for forgers, and then, if your game we choose, or the community will vote on what the best map is in this Forge contest, and that map will be featured for a month as the winner of our Forge contest, or it could be quarterly, it could be monthly, whatever. Forgers will love that. They know that if they create a map and it's really well liked, then it will get noticed and people will play it. And even the ones that lose, they'll probably still get looked at, right? I mean, people will be interested and want to check that out. So like something like that would be a really good idea. All right, those are some of the more like high level sort of things that I'm sure would be, take a little bit more in terms of resources and moving things around to ensure that would be possible. Those are kind of the pipe dreams. Let's get into the nitty gritty. So in terms of the customization of those custom games, it's great. It's cool. Like what they're doing right now is there is the functionality to set up a map with a game type, and you can actually set up multiple maps for that game type. So for example, if you had 5 different Jenga maps, one's the tower, one's like one of them is not vertical, instead it's horizontal, right? These different types. And maybe there's 3 towers, separate from each other, something like that. You could set up 6 different Jenga maps for the Jenga game type. And then those can go through, cycle through, and then afterwards you can also have the next game type, and you can have multiple maps on that, up to 6 right now. So, you do Jenga, and then you also have jump rope, and maybe there's multiple jump rope maps. There isn't, I only know one. But then you'd have like your jump rope game type and 5 jump rope maps. So you can do that, which is really cool. I think that this was a really good idea that 343 has implemented. It's fantastic. Definitely different than any other custom games browser I've seen before. Really the only complaint there is that it'd be nice if there was more maps per game type that you could set. Even if you're just having like a regular Slayer tournament, it'd be cool if it could be like Slayer, and then you choose every single Halo map that you can go through. So it's like a grind to get through all the Halo maps. I don't know, but I can see that people are wanting this within the community, and I think it'd be cool if there's a way to extend that. I'll also just add in that in terms of what I was talking about before, where like there's a way to, like StarCraft 2, create and download the map. It would also be great if there's a way to set it up so that the developer of that Forge map and game type can add things to the listing as well. Like it's all together, it's not separate, right? So like you go to the custom games browser, you find Jenga on Jenga, you click on it, and then it says, here's the map, here's the game type. You can download it if you want to play it by yourself or with your friends locally, not in the custom games browser. You can see who created it. You can see the description of the map, any rules or anything that you need to know, and then also crucially updates. So if there's an updated version of it, you can find it from there, and the owner of it of the listing can change that, which is also crucially important especially as we move on forward and things get changed within the game. So something like that would be great. In terms of the open lobbies system, so basically how it's currently set up, where again I was talking about before, you just search through all these different lobbies and you choose which game you want. Some of the, I still want that to be there. I still think that's good. It's something that StarCraft 2 didn't launch with, and that was the problem with finding new game types. So it's really crucial. I think that's there. But you would want to make maybe some improvements to that. And I'm sure a lot of these are already in the pipeline. I'm sure that 343 is aware of this, and they were just like sort of, they weren't completely done with the custom games browser, and they were like, well, it's beta. We'll just get some feedback and figure out where to go from there. And I totally understand that. But you want our feedback, so here's some feedback. The one thing that's a bit bothersome is having to completely refresh the lobby every few seconds. It's difficult to keep track of which lobbies are totally full because it can change so rapidly, especially if there's going to be a lot of people using this. It'd be nice if there was a way for that to update without having to click left bumper and refresh manually. So that would be great. For the waiting list idea, again, it'd be nice if we had some sort of an ETA, like this is how long it's taking for people to get into this type of game type, so it's only going to be 5 minutes before you're in. In terms of joining, and I'm sure this is already in the works, but when you try to join a game that's full, it'll just say could not join. It'd be nice if we had distinctive error messages. So if you're unable to join, it says that lobby is full. If there was some sort of a network connection error, etc., that would be nice to get an actual error message that responds to that, so we know what's going on. Really like to see more details on the map. Right now, it does feel a little bit weird. Also, when related to when you're creating, it asks you for the name of the game, and then also you name each variant. It seems a little bit weird. I don't know that that's necessary. I think it would be just nice to have really just like the custom game's name. So your custom name, it doesn't need to be the name of the game. It could just be like, you know, remember back in the old StarCraft days, people would be like, join fast, fun, you know, and like really cool and all those sorts of things. It sounds stupid, but sometimes it works. So that's fine. I think it's okay to have you know, some way of getting your game played by having custom game names. But then you can, you know, you can view the custom game, hopefully just on hover, so you don't have to click and wait and load. But you know, you hover over it and then you can see, okay, here's all the games and game types for this rotation. Here's who hosted them. The players already playing the game. Here's who created the maps, so we know which map it is. Maybe it's not a, you know, it could be a bunk version of the map. You know, it'd be nice to see all that sort of stuff. How many rounds each game type has would be even helpful, I think. Sometimes I don't want to play 10 versions of you know, Jenga, or sometimes I don't want to play 10 of, what is it, Rent-A-Car. You know, I only wanted to do 1 or 2. So it'd be nice to see that sort of information. Also, more in-game host options would be great. You know, it's there is some right now. You can definitely still see like the lobby, and you can kick and ban players from the lobby list by pressing X on the start menu, which is great. You know, being able to chat from the start menu is good too. Choosing who you're chatting with is fine. There is like an end game and also restart round option, I believe, which is good. So you can end the game, which will then go to the next game in the rotation, which is fantastic. It would also be maybe nice to have just like an end round feature. If someone gets bugged or stuck, which does happen quite commonly depending on the game type. Yeah, you know, obviously it'd be nice if there was a way to change like everything from in-game. I don't know how realistic that is, but I saw some players in the forums also asking, you know, could we change the game type in-game, which I would definitely find helpful in cases where I've accidentally started with the wrong game type, and then you don't want everyone to leave the lobby and have to restart it and find players again, but you just, you know, quickly change that. So yeah, I mean, that'd be great, but overall, I think just having like, you know, skip to next map in rotation, skip round, end game, that's all really good. Just also that it would be nice to have maybe like a host pause option, just in case someone needs to leave. I don't know if like having a pause request for everyone in the game is a good idea. It sometimes can be quite annoying when players are just trying to grief, even though you just kick them. But at least having maybe a pause for like the host would be nice if someone says like, hey, I just need to do this. Depending on the game type, it might be time sensitive where they need to be there. And the host can pause that, you know, they're able to go run and get their package or whatever it is they need to go for. So a pause option, I think, is a good idea as well. Another thing that I think would definitely need some improvement is just being able to search through the custom games browser. I can't imagine this hasn't already been looked at. I'm sure that this will come. But yeah, having like a way to search for specific variants such as Slayer, territories, race, infection, you know, obviously we'd like to have those search details. Being able to search by the name of the game, by most popular, by new, those types of things would be really nice. So yeah, we'd just like to see a lot more searching in that regard, and maybe even having like, you know, popular search terms that you can just like click on. Like I'm sure that, you know, Jenga is probably popular, jump rope's popular. If those were just like tags on the side of the search that you saw, you know, then that would probably be a good idea as well, as many people will be looking for those. And just a couple other things that, you know, might be nice to add is having like a voice control option. Some game types, you know, are in teams, but you want them to be able to speak to everyone in the lobby. Or sometimes maybe you have like an infection game type or some other type of game type where you only want people to be able to hear each other in proximity. Being able to set your voice control options like prior to the game starting would be awesome. Also, as I mentioned before, sometimes when joining a game, it can break it. You know, if you're joining it mid-round, it would be really great to have some sort of a function where you can say like, you know, new players joining lobby will not spawn until the next round starts. So that would be a great option to be able to add in as well. And lastly, just a password protection for your lobbies. Now, if you wanted to set up a custom games feature, but only some people can join with a password, maybe you're a streamer, you only want certain people to be able to join you, then I think that's a really good idea as well. So yeah, password protection for your lobby as a pre-game creation tool would be great. Awesome, that's it for me. I just wanted to quickly make a video with some of these suggestions and things that I think would really improve the custom games features going forward here. Really important stuff, I think, for Halo Infinite to be successful. So please, 343, I'd love to see you guys really you know, spend some time on this. Please launch it with the game. I don't want to see another thing like Halo 5 happen where, you know, you added it later and it's great, but you know, how many people already left and still have this thought that Halo 5 never had a custom games feature just because they left after a few months and they never got to see it. So, you know, their impression of the game has been impacted. And it'd be great if Halo Infinite just launches with that custom games browser, and the community can really get to work, and hopefully we can maintain a lot of those people. There's a lot of replay value in these custom games, I think. So, yeah, thanks so much, and hopefully some of this can get implemented.